Can you just give me a quick price? I get this question a lot, and honestly, it tells me that you're thinking about event video in the wrong way, because price isn't really the point, right? The point is what you're getting for the price and whether or not it's going to protect the investment that you've already made into your event. Today, what I'm going to do is break down exactly what you're paying for when you hire professional event videographers and why going with the cheap option ultimately ends up costing you more. If you're new around here, hello, my name is Ollie. For nearly a decade, I have traveled all over the world filming events and conferences. We've worked in the UK, the US, Europe, the UAE, so with all of that social proof bullshit out the way, I promise there's going to be no hard pitches here from me. All I want to do is share as much knowledge and experience with you as I can, and if you want to work directly with me, then I've made it pretty easy for you to get in touch. Now, look, if you're trying to figure out what event video should actually cost and whether it's actually worth the investment for you, then this is the video for you. By the end, you will understand exactly what you're paying for. Let's get into it. So let's start with what you're actually paying for when you hire a professional event videography team, because it's not just somebody that's showing up with a camera. That is a tiny part of it. What you are really paying for is experience, right? Somebody who knows what matters when it comes to events, what moments to prioritize and what mistakes ultimately to avoid, and what problems to plan for. You're paying for backup systems, multiple cameras, multiple audio sources, multiple storage solutions, because things go wrong at events, and when they do, you need redundancy in place. You're paying for strategic thinking before the event even starts, understanding your goals, mapping out the day, creating a plan that gets you the content that you actually need. You're paying for editing expertise after the event, somebody who knows how to turn hours and hours of footage into content you can actually use, not just making it look pretty, but making it work for you. And you're paying for reliability under pressure, because events are stressful, things go wrong, timelines change, and you need someone who has been through the motions before and understands how to handle it. That's what a professional event video team can do for you, not just a person with a camera. It's systems, experience, and strategy. So what happens when you book the cheap option, right? The £500 videographer, the cousin of the nephew that you may know. Here's what you'll typically get. One camera, which means that if it fails, you have nothing. No backups, just hope that it doesn't fail. No redundant audio, so if there's feedback or the mic cuts out or the room's too echoey, tough. That's what you've got. You've got no pre-planning. They're going to show up on the day and hope for the best, right? No strategy, no understanding of what your goals are and what you actually need, just reactive filming. You're going to get generic coverage, wide shots of the stage, B-roll of people walking and talking, nothing really strategic, nothing that's actually going to help you market next year's event, right? Long turnaround times, because they're probably juggling multiple different projects, so you may not even see your footage for weeks or months, which at that point the momentum is completely dead. You've also got amateur editing, which, look, editing matters a lot. Bad editing can ruin good footage. Now here's the kicker. This is actually worse than having no video at all. At least with no video, people can imagine your event however they want to, right? They can picture it in their mind and think that it was incredible, but a bad video, it proves that it looks like shit. You have documented your event looking amateur, and now that's the impression that people have, right? So you haven't just wasted money on the video team, you've actively damaged your brand. You know when you buy the cheap version of something that you actually want, right? The knockoff shoes or the budget laptop or maybe some off-brand headphones. And at first you think, this is going to be fine, right? You've saved some money, but eventually it breaks or it doesn't work the way you wanted it to, or it's just not quite right. And eventually you're going to end up buying the real thing anyway, because the cheap version is ultimately cheap for a reason. So what you've done here is you've paid twice, once for the thing that didn't work, and again for the thing that you actually should have bought in the first place, right? Your event video is exactly the same, except worse, because you can't redo this. You've already spent hundreds of thousands of pounds getting this thing right. The venue, the speakers, the food, the production, everything. But now you've just got unusable footage, or footage that ultimately makes your event look worse than it was. So you're stuck. You can't go back, you can't reshoot, you've just wasted the opportunity. And next year, ultimately, you're going to hire someone properly because you've learned the hard way, but you've still paid twice in this scenario and you've lost a year's worth of marketing and momentum in the process. So here's how to think about pricing. Don't ask how much is video, ask how much is protecting my X hundreds of thousands of pounds investment, right? Because ultimately that's what professional event video is going to do. It's going to protect the investment that you've already made into the event. Without proper video, your event gives 2 days of impact and then it's gone. People forget, momentum's going to die, and really you've kind of got nothing to show except some memories and maybe some iPhone clips or professional photos. With proper video, that same investment can work for you for the next 12 months, right? Filling next year's event, proving ROI to your sponsors, building your brand, and creating a content engine around your event. So the question really isn't whether you can afford professional video, it's whether you can afford to let that X hundreds of thousands of pounds of investment disappear without capturing it properly, right? When you frame it that way, I think the answer becomes pretty obvious. Cheap video isn't a bargain, it is a risk, and a risk that ultimately you can't afford to take because your event happens once. You cannot redo it, you cannot reshoot it, right? You get one chance to capture this thing properly. So when you're comparing prices, don't just look at the number, look at what you're actually going to get for the investment, right? Look at the systems, look at the experience, look at the redundancy, the strategy, because the difference between cheap and professional event video isn't just quality, although you will get that, it's whether your event gets captured properly at all. And in my opinion, at least, that's not a difference that's worth saving on. Look, if you are planning an event and you are tempted to go with the cheapest option, I get it, right? Budgets are tight, you're trying to save money wherever you can, but video isn't where you're going to save money. It's where you're going to protect the investment that you've already made into the event. So spend a bit more, work with professionals, get the thing captured properly, because the alternative is paying twice, or worse, not being able to use your event footage at all, and your event deserves better than that. If this was helpful, then subscribe. I post every single week on events, video, and the stuff that really no one is talking about, no fluff, just what's actually working for me and my clients right now. Feel free to check out the rest of the videos on the channel, and I will see you very soon. Take care.